good evening, good evening. Who is decadent like a butterscotch pudding, but also gives you diarrhea like a butterscotch pudding? It's us, the American Scouts of TV Thursday Night Podcast, or ASTV if you're one of the cool kids. And tonight you've got the four handsomest bastards in the entire show and the entire channel. We're like the Beatles with no hair, the Meatles, so to speak. I Bagsy Paul. And there's a distinct argument over who gets to be George. It's whoever gets to pay the less tax. I think that would be appropriately be who George is. But we're joined by Brian, Cozzy, and Suzy. How are we, boys?
Doing great.
Yeah, it's good Thursday night. It's nearly Christmas, Macka. Have you done your Christmas shopping?
I have indeed. Thanks to the virtue of wife telling me you should probably do some Christmas shopping now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's what you're getting. Okay, that's even better. Long-term marriages, they're so great in one way or another. But here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the game last night, Southampton against Liverpool's kids, and physio room, I believe would probably be the best way to describe it. But a nice victory for us. We'll talk about the predictions for the draw, which came out tonight after the Spurs United game. Everton's takeover. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's probably going to be a bad thing regardless. But as long as it makes us laugh, we don't really care. And then will we get the good Ange Postecoglou when we play Spurs on Sunday, or will we get the bad Ange Postecoglou on Sunday when we play them? Are you not entertained, boys, as apparently he says from that? But we'll talk about that later. But the Carabao Cup, I don't think I was fussed if we got knocked out of it with the lineup we put on. I really would like to just win the league. I don't really care about the other trophies right now. It'd be nice to win a trophy for Arne Slot early on, but we've seen how that creates an expectation that we don't live up to. So, Brian, good result 2-1. What did you think of the game, and would you have been bothered had we got knocked out in the end?
I wouldn't have been bothered if we got knocked out. I mean, I want to win everything because, I mean, that's kind of what supporting this club is to win everything. And also because it gives these kids, the French players and kids, the chance to keep on playing, getting minutes. And I think the more, which in the long run is going to help us out right there. I mean, I think that the likes of those a McConnell and those guys right there need to get minutes in them. I mean, it was good to see Endo coming there and get minutes. It's good to see, Harvey coming there and getting more minutes. I mean, and to get him back to full fitness. It's good to see Chiesa actually come there and put on 45 minutes in that match. So result, I'm good with it. I mean, I think that we had a little bit of troubles like that toward the end, but it's just because these players aren't used to playing with each other. I mean, if they probably would have been gelled a little bit more, I don't think it has been as much trouble because I don't think Southampton was really that much bothered by it either because they got their own issues to deal with in the league. So, hey, if we won, great. Let's get minutes on all of these other players.
Cozzy, you have been the ultra positive. We are going to win the league, come hell or high water, from pretty much whatever week it was. You decided that Arne Slot wasn't the ball did you anymore. Which is probably what, week 3 or 4 or something like that. Yeah. Once he showed that he actually knew what he was doing and we weren't getting Dutch Brendan Rodgers, as he may be called in Amsterdam. But it was a good performance from players that not only just didn't play again with each other as a team, but in the case of like Endo, didn't even play in the position that they've been bought to play in. But overall, you can't complain about that performance at all, can you, for what it was worth?
No, I mean, listen, I felt the first 45 was just a training session. If I'm honest, it was like, I think Southampton kind of played into, please don't beat us very, very badly. And he played into their hands and he played the card well. They did for 45 minutes and they got a goal, of course. And then the intensity steps up. I always say this when it comes to football where people go, oh, they need the minutes. They don't. They need the intensity. You need intense minutes of football. I was made up Southampton score. I think it was just like the perfect game for Liverpool in the end. Get intense 20 minutes into Chiesa. What's the point in Chiesa coming on when it's 4-0 up and he can just stroll down the pitch and no one gets near him? You need him to be under pressure. You need him big challenges in on him and, the people nicking the ball off him and stuff like that. You need that kind of minutes. That they're good minutes. Do you know what I mean? So, and again, the League Cup, man, right? It gets a bad rap. But I'll argue with anyone that the games are so much more enjoyable than the FA Cup games. So much more enjoyable. Like, they're hilarious. They are funny little games. But we had a 5-5 at Arsenal once, which was just hilarious. Just funny little matches that we've had. And, that Leicester one when Jota scores the pen, when Minamino scores late is brilliant. And what a lovely moment. And so the League Cup gets a bad rap, mate. And I just kind of want to start giving it a little bit more respect. I think, Liverpool, the record holders, we should be proud of being the record holders. As much as, yes, we have other things to take care of this year and we could potentially win. You don't get to pick what you win at the start of the season, You don't get to pick that. If it wasn't for that trophy last year, Jurgen Klopp is trophyless. Do you know what I mean? So you don't get to pick what you win. And, sometimes you get given draws or sometimes you get an opportunity. So I'm pleased, man. I really am. And the one thing I want to take out of yesterday's match, which is, again, another positive for the League Cup, footballers are like robots these days. I think we all agree with that. It's very, positional sense and it's very use your brain. And there's not really... The League Cup, because you just get teams just putting people in all mad positions that you'll never see again. And you just go out and be a footy player for an hour. Okay, that sounds like fun. Do you know what I mean? There's no tactical sense. They weren't having a big tactical breakdown about Southampton. They were like, who the fuck can play you? All right, you're playing centre-half. Have you played centre-half before? Oh, yeah, when I was 22 and Endo's 32 now. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, just do that then. Do you know what I mean? I just like that about football sometimes, where it just turns footballers to back and be into footballers. So, yeah, man, super pleased, really happy, and the right people scored who we needed to score.
Which is a nice little segue to Suzy, because he's got the man behind him. Now, we are famous in the ASTV universe for being the Darwin Núñez bashers, and he had his few detractors last night on our Discord channel. I wasn't one of them. He got shots on goal and he scored a goal. That's all I ever asked from the lad. Here's my question, though. Was he invisible in other parts of the game? In other words, did we get the other side of the game, the side we want, but we didn't get the great things we talk about when he doesn't score? And in which case, what do we have to do to get, it's almost like the Incredible Hulk TV show. You get one half on one side of the screen and then the Hulk on the other half. How do we combine them two into the amazing player we all thought we were going to get when we bought him?
I don't think we're going to get a perfect player. I mean, he's like Jota. He can go missing the whole game. And then 89th minute, he'll score a winner, and then, we bang on about how great Jota is. I'd rather have that version of Núñez than the version that's been getting slated, where his work gets overlooked, because ultimately that's what we bought him for. We bought him to score goals. So, I mean, if he can compensate the lack of work with goals and actually getting shots on target and, at least getting, up to 15, 20 goals this season, I'd take that above his work rate. I probably regret saying that, but just to get his detractors off his back. I mean, he does most things right, except for what he paid him to do. So but I mean, yesterday, he needed that goal. He did everything he could to mess it up, but he put it in the back of the net. The goalkeeper slipped, and it was to our advantage, and he got that goal. So, and that being said, beginning of the game, it wouldn't have bothered me if he went out, but then kind of like Kazi brought me into these are minutes that these players need, and the intensity, and you look at players like McConnell and Dans, they've got more medals than Everton, Newcastle, and Spurs put together over the last 40 years. It's so, this is a trophy that they've won. It's good for them. Endo, we're not going to see him that much in the league. So if you can get the minutes here and win us these trophies like the FA Cup and the League Cup, then it's great. Now that we're in the semi-final, let's just go in it. We have to win it now. It's no point in coming this far just to have our pants full now.
Let me ask you this, Brian. The fact that we had to play Wataru Endo as centre-back, does that really say to the board, yes, one more defender somewhere, maybe even another Gomez, a multi-purpose, can play full-back and play centre-back, so we're not stuck playing 32-year-old defensive mids at the back in cup competitions. I know we could have played, I know Arne Slot could have played the main guys, but you really want to have players in their positions. As much as I wholeheartedly agree with Kazi, and it's one of those things where my observation is always that if a professional team is stuck, just has some sort of sticking point in their tactical progression, and then they're used to playing with a back four. Stick them in a back three for a few games because they have to figure out what to do all over again, and they can't be robots. So I fully get where Cozzy's coming from. They have to start thinking like footballers again, but we should have enough coverage at the back to not have to play a 32-year-old number 6. No, shouldn't we?
I mean, it's a big gap right there to go put some of these some of the people we have. I mean, everybody's talking about Norris right there for a while about putting him right there, but he's not ready for that role yet. I mean, and I think that putting Virgil needed a break. I think everybody pretty much come to that conclusion. He needed a break, and we had to go in there and make a stopgap. Endo played as a center half before. You had to go there, just put him in to do that role. I mean, to give Verge those minutes to rest. I mean, I think more or less I don't think the center halves are an issue. I think left back is our issue. I mean, so that's what I want addressed right there. I mean, really, if I want to address anything back in defense at the moment, right there, I think that by playing this squad that we played, it was to go there to give again. As Kazi, I agree with what Kazi says, the intensity of keeping these guys on our toes, but also it gives them the ability for our regular first starting lineup to get a break. I mean, Virgil's played every single match there's been in this season so far. Right there, he needs that break. McAllister got his break right there for basically a 2-week vacation for the most part on that. So they needed that. Kanate should be coming back. So I don't think that we're so bad off at center half. Again, the issue right there to me is that left side fullback.
Bry's right. I think Bry's 100% correct. I don't think it's the Endo centre half. I think that's the biggest issue here. It's when this one. I've been saying this a little bit in the Discord regarding Robertson and the shit he's been getting a little bit. Which, first of all, I think it's completely unwarranted. Right? You can say so. By the way, you can say someone's hasn't played well in a game. Of course, you can say he was shit today. No problem. But to say like he's finished and stuff like that, when I just basically seen him get man of the match against City and Real Madrid, I just think that's a bit harsh. I just think that's a little bit of a stretch. My issue is here, though, fella, right, is that Robbo has every right, and the manager does, to go, where the fuck's the backup? Where's the other left back that we signed to play backup left back? Oh, he's injured again because he's got a little tight muscle injury. What? In training? You can't. The lad hasn't strung 12, 10 games together for us. And this is not. And by the way, don't tell me the opportunity wasn't there, because the opportunity was there last year, because Costas was great for a spell last year before he got injured again. When Robbo got his injury, he was great. So we know he can get up to a competent level of fullback to play for Liverpool. Competent. I'm not saying world class, far from it, but a competent fullback. And I just really find it a little bit, not taste, like, a bit tasteless a little bit, really, the treatment to Robertson and what he's done for us. And I get he's 30 years of age, but he can also look, going, fuck me, can I get a week off? Like, let's get this right. If he's fit, if he wasn't suspended, he would have played on the weekend. He would have played that game. Because he was no other left back. Because Joe Gomez probably would have been started centre half alongside Kwanzaa. Do you know what I mean? That's what would have happened. So, I don't know, man. It's a bit like Trent now, for example. Those 2 substitutions that he made at half time had to. I said this in the Discord. He has to do them at half time. Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter what the score is. Do them at half time, because if Gomez goes off, you're completely fucked. Because you've got a Kwanzaa who's low on confidence, and if Trent goes off, you're playing Gomez right back, and you've still got Kwanzaa playing fucking low on confidence. So it just seems a bit. We're a bit stretched at the moment. We really are a little bit stretched, but again, going back to the match here in the game. Trent got a valuable 45 in terms of intensity. Macka got for some valuable minutes. He hasn't played it in 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Darwin got 90, gets a goal. There's just a lot of positives I've took out of the game. It really has a lot of positives.
So Z, talking about getting minutes in the game, Harvey Elliott is, he's back, I think, and he got a goal as well for it. There's sometimes in your support of a club and you support the Liverpool Football Club, when you really want a player to score, you enjoy it when they score, even if they're not like the main goal scorer. Like Joe Gomez, I think we're all going to have a party if he ever gets his first goal for Liverpool. But Harvey Elliott scoring, that just brings me so much joy, because that kid can go places, can't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And to come in as young as he did, go out on loan and come back, and the faith that Klopp had in him, he's showing his potential. I mean, he can go on to be so great, and I think the only reason he hasn't got an England call up is like what Kazi was saying over the summer, is because of what he said about Harry Kane. Because that kid is, he can potentially be up there, like probably be better than Foden. He has a potential. He lacks pace, that's for sure. Maybe a bit of strength, but his balance and his close control of that ball, and his aggressiveness, it's great. And just to see any of the academy players score, like when Jones scores, I love it. Elliot, I can't wait for Dan to score, a Premier League. Like, you want to see these kids come up, through the ranks and just do well. We've seen FSG, they don't want to invest. They'd rather we just develop these players, make profit of players that we don't need. But then, we've got, with these academy players, we beat Chelsea, we beat $1 billion team last season in the League Cup, and they had no rights to win that. So just to see these kids score, and players like Harvey Elliott, who knows he's not going to be first team on that. He's not going to dislodge Macka. He's not going to dislodge Gravenberch. So you're trying to fit in like 3 or 4 players into that one spot. So the fact that he can still perform, score goals, and he's not putting his head down, and you can tell he loves Liverpool. So to see him perform and score yesterday, it was great.
The thing is, Mark, here as well about Elliot, he's the only one in our team that's unique. He's the only one who's both-footed, tight in areas, like we can get out of like jams when he gets himself in a bit of a traffic jam. You know what I mean? Like in a bit of a cul-de-sac. But then Szoboszlai is unique as well, because Szoboszlai is the only one that can run 14k in a game. So, but what both of them offer is 2 completely different things at the same position, which is nice to have. It's like, what do we need today? Oh, you're playing Ipswich at home, but they're going to play a back 5, so we might as well get Elliot on the pitch. You don't need all the running. We're going to have 80% of the ball. We can have an Elliot just to pick his little passes off. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice to have those options, because when you actually look around the teams that were challenging, for example, Arsenal, they've only got Odegaard, and then after that, it all goes tits up because they haven't got another player who can come in and do that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have one where we've got a couple now. I feel like Jones can play in the 10. I think Jones could do that role. I prefer him in the 8, but I do think he can play in the 10 as well. So Harvey offers just so much more, and also we only have him and Jones who can probably get 10 goals from midfield. Like, I can't see it in Szoboszlai. And again, sometimes goals from midfield is so important. Like, it really is. Your strikers aren't going to bail you out every single game. Sometimes, we've been in those games when Coutinho just bend one in from 30 yards and go, there you go, you won the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, those moments, like, and he, by the way, he was playing with the best front 3 I've ever seen, and he was still doing that. So it is nice to see, man. It's so happy to see him back. And people forget as well, by the way, the setback he had when he broke his leg, broke his ankle against Leeds away, Ellen Road, I think. Yeah. And he breaks his ankle. It's such a big setback for the kid, and he's come back. He looks stronger. He looks great, man. I'm so happy he's back. I really am.
Just on that note, just before I go to Brian for the last point, is that if anybody remembers, the top scorer in Jose Mourinho's first Chelsea wasn't Didier Drogba. It was Frank Lampard.
Yeah, those
consistently.
Yeah, mate, in the 13-14 season, when Liverpool nearly won the league, Sturridge and Suarez were the first 2 goal scorers. Does anyone know number 3? Gets 20 goals.
Gerrard.
Yaya Toure.
Oh, wow.
So that says it all. We're a midfielder can contribute for midfield. It wasn't Aguero, which people think it would be because they won the league. Yaya Toure gets 20. Do you know what I mean? So that's also an example of like midfielders contributing. I really think Elliot can get 10 goals for us this season, which would be massive.
Got all those goals, but no birthday cake, the poor bastard. Brian, here's what I want to ask. Because we started off this portion of the program tonight talking about, I don't know why it sounded like an ITV broadcaster there for some reason. We started talking about footballers being footballers, like old school footballers, and that was an old school toy because there was no VAR. How did you feel about that? I didn't even think about it. That's how much VAR means to me, is that it was just a game all of a sudden. I didn't really care about VAR. We're going to have drama anyway. I'm not a huge fan of VAR. it's saved us sometimes. It's screwed us over in others. But what did you think about that? Do you think it's something that, it makes that competition unique, not having the VAR, at least up to these stages?
I mean, I didn't mind it either way. I mean, I think that right there, that if you was that, I guess a big talking point right there about VAR from going across like the other social media was, one, Arsenal's goal that was clearly offside right there, and then the second one right there was, should Kwanzaa had got a red card right there for that challenge. And in my opinion, there was never a red card challenge in that. That was a 50-50, and I think it was more or less trying to draw Kwanzaa to make that tackle to get him to look like it was a goal scoring opportunity. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I watch League One football right there, and I see, and there's no VAR there, and I mean, and the game still flows. So I mean, are there bad calls? Yes. But, in us, we've got VAR, and we still have fucking bad calls. So, I mean, what's the big difference at the moment right now? I mean, you can clearly go back up to last weekend right there where, okay, should Robertson have been sent off? I mean, should that have been a sending off? Should it have been 2 red cards in that match right there other than that? I mean, that I saw in that match. I mean, it was easily, there was a boots high, raked across the back of the leg is a red card every day of the book, in my opinion. I mean, and that was right there. That was giving a yellow. I mean, through there. So so I mean, I'll take it as it is. Football's football. I mean, it's like everything comes out. The spoils eventually come out, and it'll come out. So I think that with this, okay, no VAR, we still came out winners right there. I mean, Arsenal got by, but Arsenal wound up coming to winning 3-2. So I mean, or 3-1. So it didn't make a difference with that match either, right there. So it is what it is.
The thing is, as well, Mark, with the VAR, why can't we just have offside? Offside isn't a debate. You're offside or you're not.
Semi-automatic offside solves that right there, but the fucking league keeps on resisting it every minute.
But it's like goal line technology. We know it's a fact. The ball's over the line or it's not. So we have no issue with goal line technology. Apart one time they've had a mistake from 10 years, and that was the Villa-Sheffield United game. Offside is offside. Like, it's matter if the rule is, but he's only a toe offside. He's fucking offside. That's the rule. Now you're asking to change the offside rule if you want more than that. But as the rule stands, that's the rule. It's like getting pulled over. I was only going 32 and a 30, so you're speeding. It's the same fucking thing. You were only just speeding, but you were still speeding. It's still the letter of the law. I just don't understand why, especially in this tournament at least, because if you're Palace, so for some contest, Crystal Palace have never won a trophy in their history. I would be sick as a dog this morning. By the way, that's the goal to take the lead. You know what I mean? That's the second goal. Like, at 1-1, you stay in the game, you can win on pens, and who knows? Do you know what I mean? I just feel like there has to be a balance somewhere in this tournament where you can still do the offside, but not do VAR altogether. I'm not sure.
I think the best thing we can say about it is apparently Steve Carriage has ruined all of our dreams. It's got to be used in the semi-finals and the final. But what's going to happen is that there's going to be decisions exactly like the ones that were missed without the VAR that are going to be caught by the VAR, and all of the Arsenal or the Crystal Palace fans, etc., and probably Man United fans after today. I can't remember. I had to listen to that game. So But there's going to be arguments. If they're going to not have VAR, they should not have it for the entire thing. That's my opinion on my soapbox. Or if they're going to have it for the final and the semi-final, have it for all of the rounds. But then, Everton wouldn't be able to afford the cameras.
It's also saying, like, you've agreed to, like, VAR in the semi-finals, but you have no idea if a League 2 team's going to get to the semi-finals. Yeah. That's just sheer hope that a League 2 team doesn't get there. Because if they do, they're not set up or capable to have VAR.
You've just increased tinfoil sales for the tinfoil happy people now. And we're not even going to get a cut of it. But having said all that, with the 2-1 win and then the Spurs beating of United earlier on, we managed to get to the Carabao Cup draw, semi-final draw to be played in January and February. Almost a month apart by the looks of things. But Arsenal drawn against Newcastle and Spurs against Liverpool. Before we went on air, Brian and I were talking, and my feeling is Spurs' name might be on the cup after Ange made his big proclamations of winning trophies in his second year. A Spurs-Arsenal final seems like the most romantic way to do it. My question, boys, is what do you think, Cersei? Is it going to be a Spurs-Arsenal final, or are we going to put the big guns out against Spurs over 2 legs and get ourselves in there and win another record trophy in the League Cup?
No, Tottenham, they're not winning anything. I don't think they're winning anything for the next 5 years. This is the best draw that we could have asked for. Arsenal, second leg at Newcastle, going all the way up to Newcastle to try and finish a game. Obviously, they are probably our biggest title challengers along with Chelsea right now. Having Tottenham at home first leg, if we can get a draw or even better, win then coming back to Anfield, they're not going to want that. It's Tottenham aren't even in the conversation. It's just who do we beat in the final? Is it Newcastle or Arsenal? And that's what it's going to come down to.
Brian, the 2-leg semi-final, it gives us a chance to play the kids in the first leg at least, doesn't it? And then see where we are for the second leg. Or do you think Slot is going to say, as Cozzy said, you can't pick which trophies to win? This is a good chance to get into the final. And once we're in the final, it's anybody's game in every final, as we found out to our cost against Wimbledon in 1988. Do you think this is going to be a case where Slot changes the game a little bit? Maybe keeps Kelleher in goal, maybe keeps 1 or 2 of the kids in, but at this point he's gone, I want to win this.
I mean, I think we still, like I said earlier, I think we have enough players right there that we can afford to go there to play a decent strength side. I mean, with it, there's enough French players out there who aren't getting minutes right there. I mean, we already talked about Harvey, talked about Curtis, we talked about these guys right there who have enough in them. Chiesa could be at that point right there, getting a little bit more match fit. I mean, and it also depends on the first leg right there what happens next week with PSV. I mean, we need a point. So if we don't get that point right there, we still have to play Will for a point, and that Will's a interesting side. You don't really know what you got with them. So I think that's what's going to be the telltale with it. More or less right there, you could go in there and see that if we don't get the point out of this PSD match, you might see a stronger side. You might see a stronger side right there for the first leg with a weaker side on the second leg. But it's all balanced right there. And again, it's like I said right there, we have enough players in the end here that we can go there and make a decent side right out of this. I mean, I'm sure Mo right there was probably pissed that he wasn't playing yesterday. I mean, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, so
there's a thing here, though, and I agree with what everyone's saying here, gents. And Brian, I 100% agree with you. I think he needs the point. By the way, we play Lille first, PSV second, by the way. But also, then the first leg is the week before Atkins and Stanley are on. So it tells me he has to go strong first. One for the kids. And that tells me he has to go strong, because you'd want to rest all your first team for Atkins and Stanley, and then you play Forest away. And if Arne Slot was offered the chance to re-resurrect any single fucking football team, to send a team down from Mars, he wants to take them to Forest away, just because I think he still has sleepless nights over the Forest at home game. So I think you have to go strong, because the United game's now going to get moved. The United at home game is going to get moved to that game, I think. Really fucks us, because that's probably going to get scheduled in the middle of February. Probably City away, and then United at home in the midweek. It could be brutal. Yeah, it could be brutal. But then
not to mention Everton in the mix too.
Make sure you got your tablets, big cat for that week. But so I think he has to go strong first leg, because otherwise the lads wouldn't play for 2 weeks. So I think he will go full strength first leg, and he is an argument, by the way, to win it in the first leg in a horrible, weird, disrespectful way. But this is a team who just concede leaks goals. I know they score, but they also leak a lot. Liverpool can go out there, win 3-1. I expect Liverpool to get through, no matter what they do in the second leg, kind of thing. So it's going to be super interesting, mate. But yeah, for the people who think he's going to go there and completely rest and throw it all out, I don't think that's going to happen with the time and how the fixtures have played out for them.
In terms of that Champions League thing, though, we're pretty much a disaster of circumstances would have to happen for us to not be in the automatic rounds, really.
To be honest, bro, a point might be enough if Barcelona lose the next one to finish top. So Barcelona at that stage as well, where I think Barcelona's the only ones who can catch us. really for finishing top. And yes, it is seeded, by the way, for the people who say it doesn't matter, it is seeded. But if we play Lille in between Ipswich at home and Brentford away, Lille, Ipswich at home. See that you're at a stage as well where you can probably go, you know what, let's just fuck Lille, get this out the way so we know it's definitely done. No. Do 3 or 4 changes. I'm not saying, for example, if that's the game that Canate can get his first starter. Do you know what I mean? Like that mid-January, is that his first start? Bradley, can that be his first start? Do you know what I mean? Still go strong, but still make 4 or 5. Whack Lille, get that done, and then you don't have to worry about PSV away, because you play PSV away 3 or 4 days before we play Bournemouth away. And Bournemouth away looks like a tough footy match at the moment, because they are a really, really good side. So that's the one where I think you can take all the bums out there just to see what they can do.
Suzy, for the League Cup, who would you prefer? Let's say if we do get past Spurs, because they're so up and down, and we'll talk about that in a little bit before the game for the weekend. But they're so up and down that if you can do what Cosy says, and I think that's probably the best approach, is to just smash them in the first leg and leave it without doubt. Give yourself that chance. Who would you prefer in the second? The prestige of beating Lego Head, or get revenge on Newcastle for the 3-3?
Newcastle. Definitely. Just want to see the fans think that they're going to win a cup and then go home crying. That is what it's between. It's the Arsenal game would just be too intense. We're both trying to win the league, and then trying to win this cup, and then we'll probably end up drawing Arsenal the FA Cup somewhere along the line as well. So, no, definitely Newcastle. Yeah, just to see the fans go crying home.
So before we move on, very quickly, gentlemen, I'm going to stick with my Spurs and the cup thing for now. But who's your prediction to win the Carabao Cup? Brian, Cosy, and then Suzy.
I think we're favorites. I really do. I think we're favorites.
Shame. I don't think anyone wants to play Liverpool in the cup final. Just think we're just doing mad shit. And I think Suzy's right. By the way, Newcastle, that Arsenal game would be so intense, especially if it's Liverpool Arsenal first and second. That game will be horrific in the middle of March. By the way, so for people who don't know, again, it's 2 weeks later this year. It's usually the last weekend in February, but it's 2 weeks later. It's the League Cup final, and then it would be Everton at home. I don't know about you guys. Suzy, if you haven't got enough blood pressure for that one, fella, I can't go ahead with that week. That is a week I do not want to get involved with. So just play Newcastle. I also think Newcastle as well, they can get caught up in styles. Because sometimes Eddie Howe likes to get on the ball and gets on the front foot and stuff, but then other ways he can play like he did against Liverpool and sit on the back foot and hit them on the counter. And I think they might get caught in 2 minds a little bit on how they're going to play Liverpool. It's a wide pitch, Wembley, and it'd be super interesting to see what they did. And I think they could get caught up in 2 minds and Liverpool could beat them. So,
Suzy, you sticking with Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, our second string is, just knowing that you've got people like Kelleher in goal, you've got Endo playing, like. We still got a world-class second string for most, the most part. And even with the youth, they've won the cup. They've won more trophies than any of the Spurs players or any Newcastle players. So to have Newcastle at Wembley would be great. We'll probably take over Wembley again like we did last season. It'll be a good day out. The Arsenal game was just too intense there. I wouldn't even make it to kick off.
Bickler says, don't hear anywhere. Us down, it's better not come on Monday. He's got a majestic moustache. Oh, we got to have a look at that on Monday, and everybody else
will, yeah.
To have a look.
I think you call it a molestache.
Where's that free candy at?
Now, talking about winning trophies to a club that doesn't win any, Everton takeover this week announced. I can't even remember the name of the conglomerate that's taking them over.
The freaking
group. Yeah, the freaking group. Just to commemorate, here's a picture of the Everton trophy room cabinet thing. But here's the question: does it mean anything? We'll go with Brian. Cosy, you said you had info on these people.
It's not info, just anything to do with everything I'm very involved with. So yeah.
But that's Brian, what do you think? Is it another false dawn for the toffees, for the blue shite? Is it going to be the unflushable turd, thinking that they have a chance of getting out of the toilet pot, but will still slide down the cistern like they always do? Or is this the dawning of a new era for the Blues?
Their debt's still deferred. They still have all this debt. So I don't know where we're
I honestly thought you said debt.
Yeah. I mean, they still owe all this back money that they still have. They just basically sold off their debt. That's basically where we're at the moment, right there with them. In my opinion, right there, the freewheeling days that we saw back when we had back with Chelsea and with Man City, where you had the ability to go there to scoot past financial fair play and buy all these players and buy this stuff like that. That's over with. I mean, I don't think you have the capability of going and buying the league anymore in the terms of what happened before. This Everton side's not good. There's a lot of struggles in there, and also the same thing goes with they're moving to a new stadium that they still have to pay for. There's still a lot of different things right there that go with them. I mean, I just don't know. Yes, are they wealthy? Sure, they absolutely are right there. There's a lot of money that's built behind them, but in terms of this right there, this is could this be a liquidation asset? I mean, who knows what their ideas are right there with them? Because a lot of these sports people go in, like conglomerates, buy these clubs just to use them as a funnel or use them as a way to go in there to strip assets, to go in there to build assets on another side. I mean, so what's going to happen with Everton? Same shit that they've been for a while. I don't see any difference.
Causey, tell us what you know about this group, number one. And number two, from what Brian is saying, is this a possibility that the Everton fans will undergo their own Hicks and Gillette situation?
I think they just had their own Hicks and Gillette situation, to be honest, in terms of the previous ownership.
He left him in a good place, he said. He said it on the BBC.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's telling, 100% true. So, Everton, and what Bryce said there is correct. You can't just go out and spend all the best players anymore. But Everton did spend a lot of money early on under Mashiri. They spent like 20-odd million on Davy Klaassen and 20-odd million on Sandro Ramirez, players you've never even heard of. So Everton has spent money. Now they were punished for it in the last couple of years in terms of what they were happening because of the stadium and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this ownership have now come in. These are the same owners who own Roma.
Yeah.
Who were on their fourth manager this year, calendar year. They're on their third manager this season, and we're in December. And that manager's Claudio Ranieri, who I don't know about you guys. I don't think he's around for the long haul. So they have a thing of, let's just say, not firing managers as such, because they did have a little bit of stability before the last 18 months. They've kind of panicked a little bit. Because in Italy, it looks like the Champions League spots are wide open in Italy, and anyone can kind of finish in them, which causes people to panic. Going back to Everton, you made right. Everton have been in a situation for years where they're just treading water, and what they've had to do is just stay in this league no matter what because of the stadium build, which I also understand. It's a bit like when Arsene Wenger famously said top four is a trophy for us because the Emirates was getting built and there was no debt on the Emirates. Brian is technically correct. There's no debt on the football club, but there is debt for the stadium. So Brian's technically correct, but he is dead for the stadium. What Everton do have here is an opportunity where I actually look around the league and think, could Everton in 2-3 years be in European football? Yes, comfortably, because I think it's wide open. I know people don't like to hear that, but first of all, they still need to make good buys and they still need to sign good players. They need Everton's biggest decision made in the next 12 months is what they're going to do with Jared Branthwaite. Are you going to sell him or not? Because selling him can free up a lot of FFP room. A lot. If you go and sell him for 60 million, he's English. Because again, you come for Euro Academy, so that's balanced. It's a full-fledged 60 million. It really frees them up. I have a feeling, and Everton are desperate for a striker. Calvert-Lewin's got 5 months left on his deal. He's going to leave in the summer probably. And there's also a part of Calvert-Lewin that he's absolutely shite. So I actually think they might do a big cycle in January to keep them up. I actually have a feeling, this is just in my head, there might be Ivan Toney. But that they just bring back and go, you're the main man. You've always wanted to be the main man of a footy club. This is a sleeping giant, blah, blah, blah. We can pay you the wage, some of the wage at least, and you can kick on there. So I think is this a good move for Everton? Time will tell. I think the jury's completely out. What I will say is, though, mate, is that this is a bit like Liverpool hedge fund system. And you have to think about this with hedge fund owners. There's people who are invested in hedge funds who care about Liverpool. There's also people who are invested in FSG who don't give a fuck about Liverpool. They give a fuck about what the assets are. For example, Mo Salah is an asset to the hedge fund. It makes the hedge fund more valuable. Trent Alexander-Arnold is an asset. Trent Alexander-Arnold in the next 3-4 weeks could be the third biggest asset in Liverpool, apart from the ground, the training centre, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's like, in terms of sellable assets and what you have, that's what Trent can offer you. Going back to the hedge fund thing for Everton, they have a big decision they have to make on Pickford if you want to sell him. But he's the only one who's kept you in the league for the last 3 years, and then Jarrett Branthwaite. And I think they might do Jarrett Branthwaite, and it really frees them up. I actually think this could be a good move for Everton. I also think it's a good timing, because I actually think if Chelsea beat them this weekend, which I don't think will happen, by the way, I think Everton will beat Chelsea, Graham Potter's available. And you can actually go, you can sell him the stream of January's in 10 days, 12 days, and we'll go and get 3 players for you that you want. And you can start getting your system in place. The one good thing for Everton right now, I know I went on a little bit, but I think it's important to mention as well, the bottom 3 are pretty shit. Like they have been the last 3 years. The people who get promoted usually go down. That's what usually happens. Right? This year still could be the same, by the way. Everton are probably not going to get relegated. So even if they make a choice on Dyche to go to Dyche, you're out. You're not the type, you're not the way to go. All you're asking for Everton is to get 16 more points, 17 more points, and they'll stay in the league. But what you could do then is give Graham Potter 6 months to go, these are all garbage. Why are you playing Ashley Young right back when he's 40 years of age? Why is that a thing? I don't know. And I think that's the way Everton might go here, guys. I really think they might do a Potter. They might get a front-footed manager and really find a way. And I think they actually could be a really big danger towards the end of the season if they did something like that. And I think they could really trouble, because there's some talented little players in there. You know, Mangala's a good player, Branthwaite's a good player. There's a few little players where you look and go, not bad, not bad. You know what I mean? And I think if they do 2 or 3 and get Potter, yeah, unfortunately for us, that could be a good thing for them.
On that note, though, let me ask you this. If you're Sean Dyche and you've been doing the attritional keep a team up in the league style of football for the entire time you've pretty much been there at Everton, and now these new owners come in, and you know, because he's a bright spark, you know, he's on this show with us, that shows a degree of intelligence for everybody who's on the show, or in ASTV land. But if Cosy is thinking that Graham Potter is an option for Everton, then surely Everton people are thinking that Graham Potter's an option for Everton. So if you're Sean Dyche, are you sitting there going, crap, I better get them to pass the ball around this weekend, otherwise I'm done for?
Yeah, I mean, like Cosy was saying, I mean, the fact that they've gone through 4 managers this calendar season shows that they don't really give managers much time, and that's just the nature of the game right now. So with Dyche, I don't really think he cares. I think even if he gets fired, he knows he'll find another job in the Premier League, be it one of the other lower league clubs that are about to get relegated or whatever. So, you know, it's not like he needs the money. You know, he's got paid off enough. So, you know, you're just in it for, you know, for the sake of being in it. I think of the bigger picture with the takeover, it's like, I mean, no one wants to take over Everton unless it's going to profit them. Like, that's the bottom line. It's the bigger picture is that now there's 10 American owners in the Premier League, and that's 50% of the Premier League. And I think they're starting to try and squeeze out the state-owned clubs, you know, like Man City and Newcastle, and they're only 4 votes away from getting what they want, which is the Super League. And I think just with American owners being American owners, it's profit above anything else. And there's so much money to be made out of a Super League. So I think that's the bigger picture. I think it's going to this takeover is going to benefit more the rest of the American owners than it will Everton, because Everton probably need about 5 or 6 transfer windows to get into Europe, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this, Brian, though, then in that case, let's say Suzy is correct, and there's no reason to doubt that they aren't interested in the clubs, but they are interested in what they can earn from a Super League. A club like Everton's not going to get invited to the Super League, are they? They have 0 pedigree in Europe. It's going to be Liverpool and Real Madrid and Barcelona, Manchester United and Chelsea and City and Bayern Munich and Ajax, maybe even Celtic before it's Everton, because Everton have done nothing in Europe. So that's a bit risk for them to take, isn't it? That's their goal.
I mean, it's a risk right there, but also the same thing. What is the route that's going to go to the Super League? I mean, that could be a whole other different animal through there about how are they or how will they go through. Plus, if you get through UEFA, there's no more financial fair play, so that goes and throws in a whole other wrench into the plan. I mean, with it, so. Could it be a possibility, like Kazi was saying right there, for them to go through this year? No, but in 5 years, like Sir Z was saying, if UEFA, the Champions League, that format is dissolved because you have enough teams right there to maintain it. That's going to be the thing, enough teams to maintain it. Then could Everton come in there and actually make that weight eventually? It's a long stretch. I mean, right there again, it depends on what they're looking at for pedigree. I mean, to go into that league in there, are they looking at league champions? Are they championships? I mean, Everton's still not really there for that. I mean, so I don't know. But the big thing with this ownership group right there is the amount of TV revenue that gets brought. It comes into the Premier League is a cash cow. I mean, and that's why all these American owners right now are interested right there, because it's a moneymaker. I mean, you sign for. I mean, whoever goes over. If NBC loses the U.S. market, it's going to be freaking billions right there for somebody to take that off their hands. That's also not throwing in Sky's contract, not throwing over all these different things that you're throwing into the mix to their ITV's contract. I mean, you still have a couple matches that are on BBC there through. Then you also have Amazon Prime matches. I mean, so all these people are competing for all this money. It's a cash cow. I mean, they're going to make money off of this no matter what.
I think there's right, by the way. I think it's not the Super League that they're interested in. They're interested in
the TV rights. Yeah, TV rights.
It's the TV money. So for the listeners who don't know, the Premier League go out, negotiate a TV contract, and it all gets split evenly between all the clubs in the Premier League. Liverpool tried to stop this about 8 years ago under FSG when they first came in. So the Manchester United, by the way, with the Glazers. And they tried to say, fuck that, we bring all the money into this league. We deserve a bigger slice of the pie. They were voted down, rightfully so, by the way, voted down, because that's how you get a competitive league. So for people who don't know as well, La Liga negotiate their own TV contracts, and that's the reason why only Real Madrid and Barcelona win it, and a bit of Atletico. Same with Bayern Munich. That's why you never watch Bayern Munich and Dortmund games. So it is a thing that this is, I think the American owners would like to push for, let's say. I don't want to say American, because I think all owners would like more money. They're not here to give money away and lose it. The bigger problem we have, gents, is that if you invite capitalists into your league, do not be surprised when they have capitalist ideas. And do not throw your toys at the pram. If you vote for capitalism and that's what you want, but you want socialist football, fella, this ain't it. This ain't it. So what we have right now, in a weird way, in terms of the TV rights, at least, is socialist, because everyone gets the first crack of the whip and everyone gets the first share, and Liverpool and United have every single right to feel upended by that if they like, and say, fuck that, we bring all the money in. But don't invite venture capitalists into your league and then complain about when they have venture capitalist ideas. That frustrates me a lot. And especially when the Super League happened, when you've seen the fans kind of get up and down about it and stuff like that, and completely fair, completely right. But that's the type of ideas that venture capitalists have. That's what they want to do, is make money and make the money possible. So, and for some context here as well, I just checked, 2 years ago, it was the last TV deal. It was a 4-year deal, and it was $8.4 billion. They reckon the next one's going to top over $10 billion.
Easy.
Worldwide for the Premier League. So we're at a stage here where that's only going to go up. We know it's never going to go back down. It's only ever going to go up. Buying a Premier League club right now and just making them, for example, look at Brighton, for example, making them profitable by just being clever in the market, signing good footy players, selling at the right time, can make you a fucking lot of money in this league, but you have to be smart. Now, going back to Everton, the best thing that can happen to Sean Dyche right now is West Ham keep winning football matches. Because if Lopetegui goes, Graham Potter will walk into that squad and turn that squad is unbelievable. That squad is such a good squad of players with some really good attackers, and I think Graham Potter could really get them going. So I just think we need to. If you're Sean Dyche, I don't think Sean Dyche will come in and start passing the ball around, as you said, Mac. I just think he'll come in and go, I'll stabilise this club for 2 years. I deserve a crack at the whip here with some money. If you give me some money, I'll change the way we play footy. But I've got to play this way because I've been given nothing for 2-3 years. And last year, by the way, they gave a points deduction, but they still get 50 points without the point deduction. It's a lot of points, you know. It's only about 8-10 points off fucking Europe. It's not. That's what I'm saying here, Sergi. When we're mentioning Europe and that, you're saying 5 years and stuff. Everton this season have only lost 1 game more than Man City. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's so they're not as far away as you think they are. In terms, there's a lot of 0-0 draws where, of course, if they can swing 2 or 3 of them to a 1-0 win, then they're right up the league. So I don't think it's as bad as what everyone thinks it is. But as soon as the Everton players realise they're not that bad, that's when it could be an issue.
But Sean Dyche believes that Sean Dyche should have more points and should have all of the opportunity to take Everton to the Champions League. Go ahead, Susie.
He got really to play Olympiacos in Europe, fella. I mean, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I mean, the other teams are just going to keep getting stronger. I mean, everyone spends, but us, you know, obviously. And Man City, you know, this year is, you know, it is what it is. Like that's a exception to the rule. But yeah, I mean, how much money are this company going to put into Everton I think the only way forward for Everton is the academy players, like strengthening, because what real class or elite players are going to want to go to Everton? Like they literally have nothing to offer. They don't have good manager to offer. It's I don't even know why Ancelotti went there. You know, it's the closest it can get to managing the Liverpool club, I guess. But it's, you know, it just didn't make sense. I just don't see the appeal for anyone to go to Everton. Not any elite players or any elite managers.
It's a good chat, this though, Sergi, because I don't think it's about money. I think it's about the players that you bring in. I always think about this when people go, you need to throw money at it. You don't. You just need to be kind of smart in the window and make some clever fucking decisions on footy players. Like, this isn't like, for example, if Ipswich go down, the first signing I would do with Everton in the summer is the lad. Just go and get him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, go and get Kuna if he goes down, because he's unbelievable. So I just think you need to be clever. I don't. Brighton a case in point over here, though, mate, where you can just be really smart, really good scouting system, really in depth, and then you know what I mean. But this should be every single league, apart from every single team, probably from like 3 or 4 of them, Liverpool, United, City, should all be looking at Brighton going, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then just doing that, because it's not difficult. Going back to the ownership thing here with the FSG, and again, people know my thoughts on FSG. It's not about throwing money at it. It's about don't leave me fucking short in a position. Yeah. Don't go, we can take a chance again and not sign a centre mid like we did this summer. And now we're kind of noticing it. We have McAllister suspended and we go, fuck me, we got 3 midfielders. And then we're just like, do you know what I mean? You've left us short again. That's what annoys me. It's like, if you would have just done a midfield, if you would have just done, what's that fucking, like Rabiot on a free. I'm not asked about it, like, competent fucking football player who can play centre midfield for me. I'm fine with that. So I just think for Everton, mate, I think that's why going back to the main point here, they have a big decision on Branthwaite. Because if you go and get the 60 million that you need, there's 60 plus the other money. You might have 100 million to spend. Oh, and you've sold 1 player. That's a lot. You know what I mean? That can get you 5 or 6 players, and then you're away with the races.
Brian, giving you the last question. This comes from my second favorite Steve Claridge, not that one. In your opinion, it's not, unfortunately. Which Premier? It would be great if it was, though. Which Premier League owners have the interests of the club before money? Do you think there's any, Brian?
That's hard. I mean, I mean, their owners, they want to make money. I mean, it's a business. I mean, I can't think of anyone right there who ultimately right there, if your club kid they're basically dropped out of the league, guess what? I mean, they're fucking gone. I mean, it's about making money. I mean, honestly, it goes back to what you said right there about being it's a capitalist system right there. You try to make money. Owning a Premier League club right there, you want to make money. I mean, so ultimately right there, their pockets are definitely are more interested in them. I mean, so I mean, that's the only answer I have on there. It's like there is out of the 20 teams out there, everyone is interested in their own investments and their own and how it's going to make them get further on.
Mm-hmm.
I think Abramovich said it the last one. I don't think he cared about the money or not. Abramovich had his little toy, and that was it.
I mean, unfortunately, it would be a nice, fairy tale that people cared about the football. They don't. Billionaires care about money, and billionaires consistently will care about money, and that's why they are billionaires, unfortunately. And it's very sad. It's a very shitty world that we live in, but unfortunately not. That's why they're here.
Now, the thing about it is that if there's one person who clearly cares about money more than his football club, it's Levy at Spurs. And that's who we're playing this weekend. So a nice little segue there. Thanks, boys. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And we're playing Spurs on the weekend. We're playing Spurs away. They nearly threw away a 3-goal lead tonight against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. Big Ange is under pressure, probably like he's never been under before. And we're going to play a full strength side against this team. I'm almost positive, as fully strengthened as we can put. But they're playing like 18-year-olds in centre half at this point because they're so injury prone or injury struck. Because is this the best time you could possibly have to play Tottenham Hotspur? Because we know how dangerous their attack is and how relentless it's going to be. But they are so bad in defence. They're so bad at leaving gaps at the back that if there's one team that can exploit it and one player, Mo Salah, that can do the damage, we're probably not the team they want to face after tonight's game, are they, Irby?
Definitely not. And you've had a game there on the Thursday when Liverpool have had an extra day off as well. And also the team that Liverpool played will not start that weekend game. So there is that part as well where most of our players are at a week's rest. So there's no excuses anymore for Liverpool, by the way. There's zero excuses about... I know you've had a week off with Everton, you've had another week off. There's zero excuses anymore. But this Spurs team, mate, by the way, I don't know if you've watched it, Matt, but it was just 2 horrors from Fraser Forster, mate, which got United back into the game. Otherwise, they were never getting back in the game. Horrific horror shows.
They are a horrible team, even with.
Oh, mate. But the thing is, though, mate, if you're going to continue to play like that, and you want them to play like this, and I understand, and we're having this chat actually with Tim in the Discord here, our Lord and Saviour here. He was saying, well, the keeper should just kick it away. Like, yeah, but the keeper's been told to do that because it's Fraser Forster. It's not Johan Cruyff. Like, Fraser Forster, his whole career has been kicking the fucking ball.
He's not even Jordi Cruyff.
He's not even Jordi. Yeah. So I feel like, there's a part of that here. I don't think Spurs want Liverpool any bit of Liverpool. I think I'm made up with playing them. I'm made up at the time of the game as well. You'll find out what City are going on. You'll find out how Arsenal are going on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not asked about Chelsea. Chelsea, I genuinely don't care what Chelsea do. I don't think Chelsea can win the league with that keeper. So I would bet my life that they don't not win that league with that keeper. So I just feel like you'll find out what he did. And let's go and see now. You've had a couple of draws, circumstances, I get it. But you've also conceded 5 in the last 2 league games. Go out there, be defensively solid, and just do a professional performance. Like I'd love an Arsenal 2-0. Just to be so professional with it. They didn't touch the ball. Liverpool just took their couple of chances and beat them comfortably. And it's just a non-event. I do not want to have an event. I do not want Liverpool to be the back page on Monday morning. Do you know what I mean? I want them to be in the middle of the fucking paper somewhere. Do not put us on the back page of Liverpool win 5-4. I just want a nice, professional, lovely win. And I think that's what Liverpool will get as well.
Suzy, do you think this is going to be a game that if Postecoglou loses, we will be on the back page, but not for the reason of the game, but for the reason of what happens after the game?
No, I mean, I think the best time to ever play Spurs is when they've just won a game, because they're going to lose the next
one. Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
I mean, they don't have like a certain replacement. Like there's no,
Graham Potter.
Well, I'll take that back. Yeah, so unless they made a deal with him, like, I mean, Ange's got them into a semi-final of a cup.
Yeah,
is that enough? I don't know. I mean, he fired Mourinho a week before a final. I don't. I mean, I know we fired. There's a lot of managers that have been fired off the back of losing to us. I just don't see them firing. I don't see them firing him before before the cup semi-final.
Did they not fire Jose Mourinho? It was Spurs, wasn't it? Before an actual final.
Right. I mean, that saved Levy like 11 million, because if Spurs won that, he would have to give Mourinho 11 million bonus. So he saved them 11 million.
Which just goes to point out exactly what Levy is all about. Brian, how do you see this game? Do you think lineup wise Nunes gets the start up front because of the goal, or do you think Jota gets the minutes because he is the better goal scorer?
Kazi and I both talked about this plenty of times with there. I'd rather have Jota start with Nunez come off the bench any day, and I think that's what needs to be, in my opinion. I'd go with Jota, Diaz, and Mo up front right there and bringing in Gakpo and toward the end, and Nunez sort of like toward a little bit toward the end, just to keep them stretched. That defense of Spurs is atrocious. I mean, there's nothing more you can say about them right there. I mean, they've got their gaps and holes, and I think that we have the ability to exploit them. But it's not going to take I don't think that Nunez is that player to exploit them, to stretch them right there. I think you need cheekiness, and I think you need thoughtful football to get through them. Because I think that anybody can go there, a guy that runs at you right there any day and be just basically block him off. I think that with a person like Jota, movement like Mo, and movement like that, of a Diaz type of situation on the left. I mean, I think that is a different, gives them a lot of thought processes that they have to calculate. 18-year-old kids aren't going to calculate Mo Salah running at them, Jota coming there and finding space inside the box, or with Diaz coming there and stretching on that left side. And then you have to throw in there, you still have to have McAllister, and you still have, I mean, you're gonna have a runner with Szoboszlai up there anyway, right there. That's gonna be your runner. So I just don't. I mean, there's no other person I put in there but Jota.
Yeah, because the front line for Spurs is quite handy. They're dangerous. They're maybe not prolific, but they're definitely dangerous. But do you think that there's enough in our back for whether it's probably going to be Gomez and Van Dijk at the back in the central spots? Do you think so? They're wily enough. I mean, you still think of Gomez as being a young player, but he's actually quite experienced at this point.
Oh yeah,
probably an old age pensioner in defender terms. But there's enough there that we can handle Son and Maddison, really, isn't there? Maybe what's his name, Kulichevsky. Maybe he brings.
Kulichevsky's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Yeah.
Oh, plays everywhere as well. Plays every position. What a football player! And then you've got Solanke, of course, who's been scoring a couple of goals as well. So, I mean, I think there's an argument here, though, mate. The one thing for Liverpool, Spurs aren't going to surprise you. You know exactly what they're going to do. Like, this is not a surprise. At least Liverpool can kind of mix it up a little bit in game. So this is probably the most full strength we've been in a long time. Like, going into this game, and again, the lads who've had a week off, needed a week off, and they've had it. You've got McAllister back, which is ginormous. You can see how much the hole he left in the midfield, do you know what I mean? It's just massive, and you can see why he plays every single game. You've got Gravenberch, again, having a week off, and then I think he does Jota. I don't think there's another option. Nunes plays 90 against Southampton. Plays 90. Like, I'll be amazed that if Jota didn't start. Do you know what I mean? So, again, I just think if you're Spurs playing Thursday to Sunday on the back of a game, what's the bigger game for them? I've been thinking about this. What's the bigger game? I think it's the United game is the bigger game. In the quarter-final of a trophy, you haven't won one since 08. You won the League Cup in 08. Yeah. So, they need a trophy. And I feel like you could just catch them in on a bit of a hangover. Remember they beat City 4-0, then Ipswich beat them the week after at home. It could be something like where they just get this highest of high, and then he just hits a bit of a plateau, and then Liverpool are catching them on the plateau. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't reach your top elite level against Liverpool, Liverpool beat you. So I just feel like we are playing at the right time, as you say, and the defence is all over the place. And it's because of the injuries, by the way, though. I will say that they have horrific injuries, which is not getting spoken about at all. Because we've been there when you get players injured all in the same position. And it's hard. It really is difficult. But again, it goes back to the main point of if you've got all those injuries, at least Jurgen did try and change a little bit of formation now and then to try and protect these lads. Do you know what I mean? He played Fabinho so much deeper when he got Reece Williams and Phillips in. Fabinho was basically playing alongside them. Do you know what I mean? This manager's just like, fuck that, mate. I'm still doing the same thing and I'm going nuts. So I think we're playing him at a great time. I really do. And I'm really, really happy with the kickoff time. I don't know if I can ever experience that enough that I'm happy with the kickoff time.
So Diaz has been a little bit under the radar for the past few weeks, but is this a kind of game where that, like, you know, that lack of cohesion in the Spurs defense might actually give him opportunities and might get his head back in the game? Because, you know, the sight of Diaz when he's on form destroying the entire right side of a back four it's a joy to watch, but we haven't seen it for a while. So this could be the game that gives him the space to do that, couldn't it?
It could be. I mean, as long as he gets his head up and sees obvious passes.
No, that's not going to happen. Now, you just asked for too much there.
Yeah, I think he plays well with Jota. I mean, historically he's shown he plays well with Jota. So, yeah, it's Jekyll and Hyde with Diaz. You know, you just don't know which Diaz is going to show up. Fortunately, we've had the better part of him this season so far. And so hopefully this game will show us why, you know, he's getting picked above Gakpo. But we have that luxury of, if Diaz doesn't work out, Gakpo comes on, and, you know, Gakpo, if nothing else, he's efficient. You know, you know what you get with him. You know, we're not having to worry about what Gakpo turns up. You know, you know what you get with him. You know, it's 8 out of 10 performance pretty much every other week. And, you know, he offers something different. He offers more intelligence than just pure brute and, you know, pace.
So, the thing about Diaz, yeah, right? I thought about this week. He hasn't scored in the league in 10 games. Like, it's gone under the radar a little bit. He scored his 5 goals in the first 5. And he hasn't scored. And by the way, there was 2 braces in there, I think. So he's actually only scored out of the 15 games. He hasn't scored in 12 of them. Like, you're a left winger for Liverpool. I'm starting to get to that stage now. You can understand people going through droughts. I don't expect you to be Sadio Mane. But what I expect you is, when you get the chances that are created for you in this team, I know the Bayer Leverkusen hat-trick throws a bit of a curveball in people's heads, but in the league, if he hasn't scored in 10, that's not good enough for the winger at Liverpool, in my opinion. Especially for the minutes that you get. I can swallow it if you know. By the way, Gakpo scored 6 and 8 or 7 and 10 all comps, I think. And Gakpo scored some big goals. Scored against City, I think. Scored last week against Fulham. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a part here where Gakpo should be the starting left winger. Like, literally on form because of how bad Diaz has been. Not the bad, but his record has been, at least. So he has a big couple of weeks, I think, coming up. He really does have a big couple of weeks, Luis Diaz. And I also get to the point as well. I understand why Liverpool were looking at moving him on in the summer. I understood it a little bit, because let's get it right. We all know they were doing Tony Gordon. They were doing Anthony Gordon. He was doing his medical in the England camp. It's where they come out and said that was happening until Newcastle pulled. And I understand why they were looking for a prolific left winger. And I love Luis Diaz, brilliant. But we need more. We need more in terms of goals and assists on the board, fella.
Well, if you just substitute Nunez in for Diaz there, then you can join our bandwagon, because you
comment. I'm sorry, you know my Nunez fourth, fella. They've been out there for quite some time.
Brian, without having to make any special plans, do you think we have enough between the midfield and the defense to contain Kulusevski? Because he seems to be the danger man right now. He's almost like what Son was when Kane was there, like a few years ago. Kane was getting the goals, but Son was the one that was causing all the damage. Do we have enough without having to pay special attention to him?
I think so. I mean, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of communication right there between Gravenberch, McAllister, and also dealing with a Gomez to go there and contain. I think that Verge is going to have a little bit of a hand on his hand right there to go there and make sure these guys are going to stay in line and keep their form. So, I mean, but do I think we have the capability? Absolutely. I mean, I think that you just have to watch out of what the runs are that we make on in the midfield, and also the runs that we make out on the outside right there. Whether Trent decides to go out there to track up too high, not give enough room for Gomez to come there to give cover to Gomez. Those things like that are the things to look at, in my opinion. Trent's obviously been a lot better with defending with Slot than he was with Klopp, because I think the roles have explained a little bit better about what he needs to do. But I still have that little bit of inkling concern right there of Trent getting lost on that right side, and and then getting taken advantage of. So, but in the long run, I do think that we have those capabilities of handling them. It's just going to be a task right there. I mean, this could easily be one of those matches right there. It could be not a slot 2-0 match. This could be like a 3-2 or a 4-3, something like that type of match. I mean, just to look at, because we're down one of our starting center halves that was on a great form before he got injured. We brought Gomez in right there, and and I saw some things with Gomez right there where I was a little shaky in the past couple of weeks. Where did he get back and get his head back into it? Sure, but if I had to go Gomez between Kwanzaa, I'm going to go Gomez every day, because that kid's got some mental break right now with playing at the moment. But
we're probably going to have a pre-game show before the game on Sunday, so we won't go too in depth into the line.
Yeah. But yeah.
What I was going to ask was, Suzy, do you have a score prediction and an impact player for this game?
I'll go 3-1. I think McAllister will be our impact player. I think midfield will win this game for us, and just controlling that midfield. So McAllister and Gravenberch being on top of the games, I think that would be the big difference on Sunday.
Brian, score prediction and impact player.
3-2 Mo.
Cozzy.
2-0 Liverpool. Trent. I think if Potter wants to cheat and take liberties by staying further forward in the press, I think we can destroy them with Diaz in the space. I really do. I think that long ball is your out ball, that 40, 50 yard out ball over to Diaz, I think it can really hurt them. Potter likes to take liberties a little bit. Understandable, because he's a really good player. But I just think you have to be tactically really smart against Liverpool. It's that famous thing in boxing that styles make fights. Styles make football matches. And I really think their style is just going to suit Liverpool down to the ground.
I'm going to go 3-1, but I'm going to go with Jota as the impact player. I think we're going to see what a real forward is supposed to do. Then he get injured.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you get a sprained eyebrow or something like that.
If he stays fit, we win the league. If he stays fit, we win the league.
Yeah,
it's literally that easy. We all know we need a midfielder, and we could do with a left back. No, just Jota just start every league game.
He's been out injured more for a bruised rib than some players have been out with a broken ankle.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I've seen players with a broken neck come back with.
I mean, Bert Troutman played an entire game with a broken neck in an FA Cup final.
There you go.
Jota can't even get a bit of a bruise on the ribs. Right side play good. Wade Nelson says good to see Wade Nelson. We win on Sunday. I think we're all positive about that, but I am fully on board the Cozzy train of styles make fights and styles make games, and I think Postecoglou's just over. It's like playing the Brendan Rodgers team. You know exactly what you're going to get and where the gaps are going to be. It's just up to you to do the business.
I always love a Thursday podcast mention of Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, he's got a lot of character.
You love a Brendan Rodgers.
A lot of character, Cozzy.
You love Brendan Rodgers, don't you?
Oh, he's got posters of Mommy Wall.
With no shirt on. Yeah.
I have his autobiography. You can't get the pages open.
The Rodge one.
The pictures.
And on that bombshell, we just make sure you are liking and subscribing, tapping and smashing buttons, and following us on all the social medias, the YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Blue Sky as well, and Mastodon. We are on those too. Send
them with his Roger out.
He's got a lot of character. It's a good few inches of character.
That's what you get for Ali Sissoko, you prick.
But we will see everybody hopefully for a pre-game and a post-game on Sunday. Keep an eye out for that. And the only way to do that is to be informed. And being on the Discord channel is a great way to do that. But it just remains to say it's been a hard day's night, lads. And the four most beautiful men in the American Scouser TV universe were here to entertain everybody. And thank you so much for giving up your evenings or afternoons, or last Tuesday in the case of Suzy, for tonight. But for everybody else, thank you for joining us. Peace out. Have a good weekend, and we will see you all the next time, whenever that may be. Peace out.